Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Amberly Lago of AmberlyLago.com. Amberly, it's awesome to have you on the show.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Super excited to have you on. And what I wanted to do is just read a little bit more about Amberly so you can hear about all the awesome things that she's doing. And Amberly is a former professional dancer and athlete and a leading expert in the field of resilience, transformation, and health and wellness. She is a motivational speaker and the best-selling author of True Grit and Grace. She empowers people around the world by sharing her story, how she turned a tragedy into triumph. Amberly has most recently been featured on NBC's The Today Show, contributed to magazines such as Shape, Fit Pregnancy, Health, and Disability Magazine. Amberly, are you ready to speak to the IMCO community?
I am.
Awesome. Let's do it. So the first question I had was to hear more about what I call your CEO story and what led you to start your business.
Well, I really think sometimes you don't know why things happen, but it leads you down a path to where you really discover your purpose. And I still wear a lot of hats, but I had a horrible motorcycle accident and I had to have 34 surgeries to save my leg from amputation. And I was nationally recognized as a fitness coach. And now here I was bedridden. And it took a lot of digging, a lot of healing to get to where I am now. And it led me down a path of really discovering the tools to become resilient. And I am passionate about inspiring those tools with others. And so I still do some training, fitness training, but I mostly work with people on a one-on-one basis doing coaching and speak to a large audience about really how to tap into your tools of resilience. And so I think being a CEO is more than just, being the face of a company. I think it is being of service. To me, it's really important to listen to your community and know what they want, know what their needs are, and also have a good team with you that works alongside you.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And obviously sorry to hear, about the injury. You said 34 surgeries?
34 surgeries, but you know what? They were going to amputate my leg and I had a 1% chance of saving it. And people ask me, do you wish you could take it all back? And I really don't, because it has made me into the person that I am today. And that pain, all the pain that I went through and actually still go through, it has taught me the greatest lessons, and it has led me down this path of really connecting with the community and empowering others.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't help but that, unfortunately it had to happen, but you being able to get through it yourself, but also being able to kind of help out others, is definitely phenomenal. So I know you touched on it a little bit, but I wanted to hear some of the things you're doing to support these clients with the one-on-ones and how you can help people tap into their resilience.
Well, I'm glad you asked, because I came up with something called PACER. And actually, I owe this to my husband, because one night we were sitting at the dinner table and he was like, you really need to pace yourself. And, if you're a type A personality, you're like on full throttle. And I'm like, this is my pace, man. I got one pace and that's full throttle. And then I stopped and kind of thought about it. And I sat and I started writing on a dinner napkin everything that I did throughout the day to pace myself so I could be resilient. And PACER is something that I use with my clients and I use on a daily basis. And P stands for perspective, A is for acceptance, C is for community, E is for endurance, and R is for rest. And let me tell you, that R part is so hard, because I have a hard time resting, because for me, resting meant quitting and I didn't want to be a quitter. But I apply these daily things into my life, and I have taught this to my clients. And whether I'm dealing with pain, any kind of pain, whether it's emotional or physical, or I'm dealing with anxiety or fear or even depression, I use this PACER, and now it's gotten to the point where I had a lot of fear. And I had a friend reach out and say, how are you doing? And I was freaking out. And she texted me back one word and she said, pacer. And I thought, wow, I need to like practice what I preach. And I went down the list and I shifted my perspective. And now my husband will look at me and say, you're forgetting the R, Amberly, you're forgetting the R. So it's my hopes that, I can, we can apply because I think so many of us, we have these traumas or we have these challenges and we need tools to get through those. And I think a lot of people aren't talking about really the struggle day to day, what your struggles are. And I think it's something that I really want to share with others to help them really tap into their resilience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that especially like when you're, starting anything or running a business or doing whatever or anything really that's new, there's a level of fear, there's discomfort, there's, sometimes doubting yourself, and there's sometimes just things that you want to deal with. So being able to kind of tap into a tool like Pacer to understand that it's part of the process and make sure that you're mining all of those different letters and those different aspects of it.
Yeah, because there are some days I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel stuck. Why am I doubting myself or getting all up in my head? And then I'm like, okay, stay in my heart, focus on my why. And I go down the list of what can I do to shift my perspective. And sometimes that means like really forcing myself to find the good in a situation, or what am I learning from this situation that I'm in? And sometimes I have to look at how far I've come and how worse it could be. And that's all I need to kind of shift my perspective. And let me tell you, when I can shift my perspective, it has changed my life. Because it makes me circle back around to gratitude, and gratitude is my medicine, man. It turns what we can't do into what we can do, and it turns what we don't have into what we do have. And so it's something that I use on a daily basis.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, being able to kind of tap into that because, hard times always are around the corner, and, making sure that you're able to kind of combat that. And I was going to ask you for your secret sauce, and it sounds like you might have already touched on this, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is that gratitude, what you feel kind of makes you unique and kind of gives you that edge?
I think so. I think really gratitude is my medicine. And I start every day, except for today, I have to admit something. So today I woke up a little bit late, and every day I wake up and I have this morning ritual where I get up and before my feet hit the ground, I say a little prayer. I think of something that I'm grateful for. And then I do some journaling, a short meditation, and I read from I'll pick something from one of my many books that I'll read out of. And this morning, I've got so much on my plate right now. And I was like, screw the morning routine. I got to just go. And as soon as that thought came into my head, I fell trying to sit on the toilet. And I was like, okay, the universe has a funny sense of humor. I'm going to stick to the gratitude, stick to my morning routine, and take it from there. And because it sets the tone for your day. And if I can start my day with gratitude, and if I end my day with gratitude, I'm in such a better place, and I'm not rushing around and falling just trying to sit on the toilet. So I thought I'd share that with you.
Yes, I feel like that should be a t-shirt. Practice your morning routine or sit on the toilet. So definitely make sure that you're doing that. But no, I love that. And I love the fact too that it sounds like you're really dialed into yourself and understanding when things are going according to plan and not. Because a lot of times people might sit on the toilet and like, oh man, it's something else. But understanding that you do this on a regular everyday basis, and the one time you didn't do it, then all of a sudden things like that start to manifest itself.
Yeah, I think that I don't know. I think if you're anything like me, I always have this big plan, this grand plan of how I think my life should be. Like I have everything planned on when, where, and how everything's going to happen. And most of the time it doesn't happen like that. Right. And so if we have some good tools in our toolbox, and we have that foundation of those things that we can reach for when things don't go as planned, we can find and have a life of joy no matter what comes our way. We can choose joy. And, for me, I was told so many things. I was told that, by a doctor, you'll be permanently disabled. You need to go back and get in your wheelchair. You're going to be in the wheelchair the rest of your life. And I hike mountains. And it's not because I'm different or not because I'm better than anybody else. It's because I have some tools that I use on a daily basis, and it gets me over those little hurdles. And that's what I really love to share with others, that, taking it one day at a time, one step at a time, sometimes 1 minute at a time, and really applying those tools and having a strong foundation allows you to overcome so much mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's definitely a great reminder, because I know, you touched a little bit upon the resiliency tools, and some people might be searching for their toolbox, let alone the resiliency tool, saying, I don't even have one of those. But it's great to hear that you say that not only have you been able to, leverage those and find those, but we all have those within us.
We all do. We all have that resilience within us. And, at one time for me, I, when I first had my motorcycle accident, I realized when I was stuck in the hospital bed, I really had one tool, and that was to run. If I was sad, I'd go for a run. If I was happy, I'd go for a run. If I was anxious, I would go for a run. And when that was all stripped away, I had nothing. I didn't know what to do. And I really went into a dark place. And so over time, there was something inside me, and it's not just me, it's inside all of us. And it's really a never ending resource of a well of information and resilience that we have inside of us. And it's really about fine tuning how we tap into that and really continue to rise, despite sometimes not feeling like you can even take a step forward. Because there were days when I seriously was ready to throw in the towel. And thank goodness there was that little bit of light or resilience left in me, and I was able to climb out of that dark spot. And I don't ever want to go back there. And I want to help others that might be in a situation where they're feeling stuck or they're feeling heavy-hearted, because we all can thrive. We all have that ability to thrive and choose joy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I wanted to switch gears a little bit, and you might have already touched on this with the running. Was there any other what I call CEO hacks or things that you do to be effective and efficient that you can share with us?
I think that really it takes focus, and it's building your habit. It's doing something on a daily basis, like anything. And that's something that I've done since I was a kid. If you want to get better at something, then you have to do it on a daily basis. It's something that I used and still use with my fitness training clients. You can't go to the gym one time a week and expect to see results.
Mm-hmm.
It's a daily basis. It's a way of living, and it really takes doing something every day. And it's really, I think there's one thing that you have to do that will get you there. And that is the key to being successful, is being willing. And if you are willing, then there you go. You're going to reach your goals, because if you are willing, you are going to be able to do anything you can and do your best every single day. You're going to find that grit to keep going. And like my grandfather always said, and I always think about this, my grandfather used to always tell me, you've got a shovel in your hand. You can either lean on it and pray for a hole, or you can start digging. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to pray, but I need to start digging. It takes action. So I always think about what these little sayings my grandfather used to say.
Yeah, it's funny how, those sayings start to manifest themselves in a life, and you remember those and can kind of tap into those. So that's why they make sure to say them. So like I say, I will overskill all the time. So now I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO nugget. And this is a word of wisdom or a piece of advice, or if you can hop into a time machine, what would you tell your younger business self?
I think I would tell myself to listen to my gut, follow my heart, the answers that we need are within us. Sometimes I think that we look outside and we're trying to search for everything. And if we just be still for long enough and really listen to our heart, everything that we need is within us.
Absolutely. No, that's a phenomenal reminder. And I know you touched on this as well, but I wanted to ask you if you had anything additional for the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on the show. So Amberly, what does being a CEO mean to you?
A CEO, I think a CEO for me means a leader, someone of service, someone who represents, someone who is a good listener, someone who is really authentic and willing.
Absolutely. I love that definition and that perspective because those things are all important to being, and excelling at your craft, whatever that might be. So Amberly, I truly appreciate your time. What I wanted to do was pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's anything additional you can let our readers and our listeners know, and then how best they can get a hold of you and of course get a copy of your book.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I would love if people reached out to me. You can connect with me at amberlylago.com. And for little nuggets of inspiration, you can follow me on Instagram at amberlylago motivation. You can find my book at any bookstore, or it's on Amazon, True Grit and Grace, Turning Tragedy into Triumph. And I am going to be having a pacer challenge soon. It's free and it's every day. We're going to be connecting and building community to support you and all your goals and aspirations, and really to teach you how to tap into your resilience. So you can find that on my website.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. We'll make sure to have those links in the show notes as well. But Amberly, thank you so much for telling your story, for showing, true grace and grit. And I appreciate your time. I hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.